Welcome back. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rowie. And today we got an update with ZKSync. Apparently, they just raised $200 million in their Series C.
Yeah, dude. Well, nobody was looking, right? In the midst of a crypto collapse.
Yeah, of mass proportions.
Yeah, so we were looking into ZKSync at the end of last month because of their oncoming mainnet release.
Yeah.
A lot of hype, a lot of support for the zero knowledge community, I guess, coming from Vitalik himself and all these other people. Polygon obviously invested a ton of money into acquiring their own ZK technology. So clearly this is like the Ethereum community's consensus, I guess, outside of like Arbitrum and like a few others who really think optimistic rollups is like the bee's knees. I don't know. There's like a little bit of contention amongst the two camps.
So yeah, there's a couple of things to know just to kind of start the conversation is that zero knowledge proofs is a technology.
Yes.
ZKSync is a project leveraging that technology.
Yes.
And there's other projects leveraging ZK knowledge.
Yeah. They're trying
ZK proofs.
Yeah, they're trying to provide basically frameworks, tool sets for developers to leverage in order to, build speedier dApps, right?
Yeah.
That's what all developers want. They want to build something on Ethereum without having to deal with the cumbersome, problems that are related to the infrastructure of Ethereum, right? So
right.
Nobody wants to sit around for the next 5 to 10 years for Ethereum to figure out, sharding and all this stuff. So a whole layer 2 community.
5 to 10 years.
we can't do it. There's money to be made.
Yeah.
There's apps to be built.
Yeah.
Things to do, right? So the whole layer 2 community ecosystem has emerged for Ethereum.
Yeah.
And ZKSync, I think, is one of the first ones positioned to really capitalize, and hence $200 million raise.
Yeah.
It's pretty big in the middle of a bear market, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm seeing here that they're completely open sourcing their technology and using the MIT licensing.
Yeah.
Total raised, I think, was like $458 million here.
Yeah, probably over like the last couple of years or so since they've been in development. So it's
2/3 of the potential future token for the ecosystem. Okay, 66%, and then formed a partnership with Open Zeppelin. Okay,
so this is pretty standard stuff, to be honest.
Yeah,
that token. I'm not really sure why they're like really pushing the fact that 2/3. I mean, it's a decent chunk reserved for the ecosystem, but this is pretty standard. 20-30% for the team and like their early backers, investors. This is standard tokenomic stuff.
Yeah, pretty standard.
Yeah.
So we have a couple links to share. All the links here we're going to be in the description below. So we have the ecosystem. So we
it just continues to grow.
Yeah.
So as expected, right? Because all these are pretty recognizable Ethereum dApps, right?
Storage.
Yeah,
almost. Orion. Yeah, we got big names here. Anchor.
Gitcoin, Ramp, DeFi. These are all staples. Yearn Finance. Yeah, like basically these are all the projects that emerge from DeFi Summer, right?
Yeah, so from their perspective, this is sort of like a land grab of a bunch of projects leveraging their technology. So
yeah, because we've seen some of the DeFi darlings, migrate to whole other layer ones, right? DYDX went over to Cosmos.
That's right.
So, I mean, a lot of these guys have been kind of waiting around for some sort of Ethereum solution to, expand their dApps and hopefully, build more consumer grade products. You know what I mean? There it is, dude. There's your boy.
Uniswap too. Dang,
Router protocol. We've made tons of videos about most of these projects.
Yeah, we have.
Hop. Tally. That's a new one.
Oh man. So there's a ton of them, dude.
Oh, there's over 100. That's my point. This is quite the pile on, dude. If you ever seen that scene out of South Park where like everybody like orgies out, it's kind of what this feels like. This feels like a crypto orgy a little bit.
Yeah,
and it makes sense. The crypto industry tends to do things like this, right? Wherever the hype and momentum exists, like everybody tends to pile on these types of things. So that's definitely an indication that there's a consensus around this, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is they're trying to figure out how to create sustainable activity within the ecosystem. And we all know during the bull run, $100 per transaction on Ethereum network is not sustainable.
No, it's not.
And then even in some cases, Polygon network was a little bit congested at times.
Yeah.
And so now I think with this, it's going to enable sort of like what we expect from, blockchain technology and like the speed and the cost and everything. So I'm pretty interested into if they're gonna have a token, and so we have here airdrops.
Yeah, I think
So
just based on what you said, you know, they have plans to open source, right, and to pass on the, I guess, reins of this ecosystem to the community. That in itself implies a future token drop, because I don't know of any other model to incentivize, I guess, a community to perform those kind of duties. So, in other words, token most likely it's like a 90% probability.
Yeah.
And I think at one point during like their early days, they actually had it on their docs that a token was coming. If you go look for it today, it does not exist anymore. So I'm pretty sure they're getting some pressure after the whole Aptos airdrop. It's like, dude, don't be so public about this stuff. You know.
Not only that, I mean, the Aptos, we have a bunch of SEC lawsuits happening in the middle of all this.
Yeah, the sentiment is definitely shifting.
Yeah.
When it comes to tokens, right? So there's you got to be a little more with your wordage, right? We just talked about this in our podcast that you'll see it uploaded in the next few days.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, like there's a lot of legal things happening, not even in the background anymore. This is like straight up in our face.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And it's changing the behavior of a lot of projects. It's like you can't be so... You got to be more careful, I guess, about the way you describe your token, what its value is, its purpose, all that stuff. So, but nonetheless, here's a nice little guide. We could link in the description for you guys.
Yep.
If you want to have any chance at qualifying for one.
Yeah. So it seems like I guess the highest chance is leveraging or using their testnet, which already closed a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So now we're on to the mainnet. Yeah. If you didn't have the opportunity to be a testnet member, now your best bet is to interact with the mainnet itself, and of course the popular dApps that are live. I think there's a couple, Zigzag.
There we go.
And there's probably others that you can interact with. But you know how anytime a new ecosystem emerges, what's the first thing that's the first primitive that gets deployed?
It's going to be a swapping.
An exchange,
protocol.
right?
Yeah.
Just like the thing that bred DeFi was Uniswap.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to have like your token launch mechanisms and your token swapping mechanisms.
Yeah. And we saw this on Polygon. We saw this with QuickSwap.
Yep.
And QuickSwap, I mean, we were lucky to catch it at $1 and it did 1,000x.
Yeah. 1,000x?
Was it 1,000x?
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah. It went up to $1,000. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you an idea of why you should be looking at this stuff, right? Yeah. Why are we even talking about it? We're trying to find those little sprinkles of opportunity, those 1,000x gems. So ZKSync, obviously, we've identified it has pretty good adoption. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
Adoption is everything in this space. But on top of that, if you actually look at the market caps of these individual coins itself, the projects are building leveraging ZKSync, they're really like a position for a lot of upside potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have Mute. It's going to be one of the early dApps using ZKSync, and we're looking at what, 16 million, dude.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
What?
If we're talking about opportunity, I mean, this is like
definitely not investment advice, but yeah, if you're perusing,
yeah,
and trying to understand the fundamental technologies that each of these are offering, presents opportunities.
That's right. If you're not putting any stake in the game, you're just, you're a blogger or something like that, and you want to blog about these.
Right. If you want to talk about them on a YouTube channel, I mean,
you're more than free to use our information
to leverage
do exactly that
on your blog.
But don't spend any money though.
Yeah.
Definitely don't do that. But this is what we're talking about, right? This is like a QuickSwap. That's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Whenever we saw Polygon or Matic at the time emerging, we saw Matic eerily similar to what ZKSync looks like, just announcing the ecosystem expanding nonstop, right?
Yeah.
This new play to earn game is now using Polygon. This new swapping...
Dude, marketing is everything.
Yeah, it's all marketing.
It's likely the reason why Polygon won the second layer race.
Yeah. Up until now, I think ZKSync is giving them a good run for their money.
Sure.
That's what I'm seeing.
But Polygon has a ton of money.
Yeah.
And they got their own ZK technology.
On the way, yeah.
And they've already have projects integrated with Polygon, so it's not too much of a stretch for an update. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're using ZK technology.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to be a little bit of a competition here amongst different like ZK enablers.
Yeah.
Between Polygon, Starkware, ZKSync.
Yeah.
And then you got the guys like in the optimistic roll-up camps, the arbitrums and stuff like that. And I think
they're not gonna go away. They're gonna throw some punches too.
Yeah, we're gonna Rochambeau it out. That's my prediction, right? There's gonna have to be some sort of contention here to like, because obviously when it comes to like the actual primitives of the dApps themselves, they're gonna function very similarly to one another. Yeah. So it's gonna be in a race for adoption. Where's liquidity gonna go?
Yeah.
Between all these different options, right? So,
that's right.
And to be honest, a lot of this stuff, I mean, it's just like unless you're very technically inclined, a lot of it is unproven, right? It's just things that people are saying up until now. We haven't really seen.
It's definitely unproven, but we have really smart people talking about how the effectiveness of such technology, like Vitalik.
Agreed. And I'm pretty sure if there's this much money and consensus around like this is for sure. This is the solution.
Yeah, and we got to take things with a grain of salt, right? Because we had a ton of investment into FTX from like well-known investors. They got a huge investment as well. They were almost raised $500 million. That doesn't mean investors don't pick winners, right? They're just making bets just like everyone else is.
Man, I almost feel like that needs to become like a disclaimer on every single video we make from now on.
Speaking of another disclaimer, let's explain what's going on with Twitter and this massive engagement.
Yeah.
Right. Is this the right one? Yeah.
This is their funding announcement, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
154,000 likes.
Yeah.
154. I mean, exactly symmetrical.
Yeah. If you're looking for obvious signs of, let's just call it out what it is, dude. Fake engagement.
Yeah.
This is an obvious sign.
So let's take a step back and understand what is actually happening. So if you are seeing this and you think, oh, there's a bunch of humans liking and retweeting this, like, you're wrong. That's not what's happening here.
Yeah, but you also have to acknowledge, I think, the majority of people who are on Twitter aren't aware that these like bot activities happen, right? They look at these metrics on the face value, and like the first interpretation instinct is like, holy shit, this is important.
Yeah, but
to have this many likes, because that's the way Twitter works.
Well, it is.
Right?
It is important. The reason why it's important is because they're taking advantage of Twitter's algorithm.
Yes.
If you're paying for this engagement, all of a sudden, all the humans on the actual platform get to see that they raised $200 million. Yeah, and that's the point of this: is that for sure that everybody who's in crypto Twitter knows that they raised $200 million.
Mm.
I mean, for the most part, right? In general, people who are paying attention, they know as a result of, paying for this fake engagement.
So you're saying without this tactic, basically these types of announcements, they're buried in the Twitter algorithm race.
Yeah, nobody would see it.
The attention rate,
yeah, nobody would see it.
It's almost like a necessity, but still, it's not something kind of like to discredit like a project with.
That's exactly my point. Is that this doesn't mean like anything negative. It's just they're taking advantage of how Twitter works.
To kind of like align with the thing that we should disclose is, man, this space is like, especially after the FTX debacle,
manipulative.
It's very manipulable. Yeah, the people who are in this space, and there's a lot of disingenuousness that happens. So nonetheless, there's a lot of fundamentals. That's why you have to be really good at doing your due diligence and research. You don't just watch videos like this and like that's it. You got to go deeper.
Yeah,
as deep as you can to identify any potential red flag. Right. So
for sure, and just go to their Twitter and feed and look at some of this engagement. Like this seems pretty genuine to a certain extent.
Yeah,
I mean this is reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm sure,
like you said, it was their biggest announcement of probably like the year
for them. Yeah, for sure.
They went all out with the attempt to attract eyeballs to it. So. Yeah,
it's sort of like paying for an ad on Twitter.
Exactly. So it's not that bad.
Yeah,
just something to take note of and factor in, I guess. But again, like there's so much push for ZKSync at the moment, because right now they're leading the pack. They're out there pushing the solution to Ethereum scaling issues, and developers are lining up to take advantage of that. So
right.
Yeah, man, I think that's So let's talk about some of the smaller. Yeah. So we already talked about Mute.
Okay, so we have a list here. So we have MXC Global.
Yeah, I guess in this post here, they're just announcing some of their highlights, right, of the ecosystem's onboarding participants, right? So we got Zigzag Exchange. I think we talked about them.
Zigzag. So this is what's the counterpart to Zigzag? Uniswap, right?
Like, yeah, this is basically their Uniswap, right? It's the base layer primitive that needs to exist on any layer 1, layer 2.
Okay.
For anything else to emerge, right? So that's Zigzag. So if you're trying to identify, what's the Uniswap of ZKSync?
Yeah.
Well, ZKSync themselves are saying it's Zigzag Exchange. So it's pretty easy, right?
Yeah. SpaceFi launchpad program for ZKSync.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, it sounds
PokerStarter, right?
PokerStarter, yeah.
Another primitive. Mm-hmm. We got to have a way to launch, more projects in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's SpaceFi.
Argent HQ mainnet launch with historic moment scaling will mean for developers and users.
Okay,
so I guess Argent has its own explanation thread.
Yeah, I think Argent's probably like a standalone. It's like one of those, already existing layer 1 dApps probably that's just kind of transitioning over. So
yeah, right.
It's not like something new that has emerged from ZKSync's ecosystem, unlike Zigzag, SpaceFi, and Mute. These are new projects that have kind of been waiting for the mainnet to release,
Okay, we have a few. Well, last one I think here is Mute.
Yeah, so this is one we talked about last time. We weren't really sure if we should trust it or not as a reliable project.
Yeah, that's true. I remember this.
Yeah, you remember, right?
Yeah.
We found it. Like, hey, somebody's already building.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, shit.
So true. I mean, that happened. I mean, we did a video on Mute like
a month ago or so.
Yeah, something like that.
But that's why it's important always to keep an eye on, the source. Because now they're backing Mute. So Mute is legit. They're day one bros, apparently, according to ZKSync.
Yeah.
Day one homies, dude.
So we've identified a couple of new projects leveraging ZKSync technology, open source tech, $200 million raise.
Yeah, at some point we'll have to revisit it again to go deeper into layer 3.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is such a confusing and but
layer 3 now.
But impactful premise. Right?
Yeah.
Ethereum expanding into an interchainable or interchain ecosystem.
Yeah, this renders the bridges sort of irrelevant. Yeah. They weren't good tech. I mean, almost every bridge got compromised.
Pretty much.
So
we're already seeing Cosmos doing pretty well with their interchain communication. Polkadot, another similar scheme.
We're going to be talking about them pretty soon.
Yeah, we're going to revisit the whole Polkadot ecosystem. We were huge on them when they first released because of the
problem that they're solving.
The problem and like their design scheme for their ecosystem. Right. It made a lot of sense to us, just like Cosmos makes a lot of sense. And
it's like a molecule or a organic cell.
Exactly. It's somewhat nature finds a way. Dude.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a future video.
And also shout out to Little Paws. I think he was asking for a ZKSync video, and
there it is, dude.
Appreciate you for commenting in the section in YouTube. So
yeah, anybody else who has another recommendation? I mean, let's get away from FTX for a little bit.
Yeah,
let's try and find some gems. This is the time to do it.
Yeah, where people are not paying attention, now's the time.
Yeah, let's become gem hunters. And if you didn't know, we have a Discord. So links in the description. You could always join our crypto channel.
That's right.
And talk to us on a daily basis. We're always in there.
Yeah, that's it for us. Let us know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Follow us on Twitter at TheBlockRunner, at MetaZone.io, and at Rovi AI, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace out.